All right, Lisa Parker first brought us this investigation. That was an eye-opener last night.
Yeah.
And you're here with more today.
Yeah, a lot of parents weighing in today. It's one of those warnings that makes sense once you hear it,
Sure.
but until you hear it, you can't do anything about it. Over the last 9 years, 192 children killed, 69,000 injured, all of whom were sitting in the rear center seat of a car. In many autos today, that is the only place not protected by a 3-point lap and shoulder seatbelt, a difference in safety that comes as a surprise to many parents. 12-year-old Derek Smith's game isn't quite what it was last year, before the car accident.
I don't remember when they told me I couldn't move my legs, that I was paralyzed.
An accident that Derek's parents virtually walked away from. Derek was left paraplegic. A way of life 10-year-old Heather Schouten knows too well.
It gets tiring sometimes, but I still can do it.
The many parallels between Derek and Heather's accidents and cases of other children injured across the country begin where each child was seated, in the rear center seat. But in millions of cars on the road today, that rear center seat offers only a lap belt for restraint, while the side seats all offer 3-point lap and shoulder protection. Decades worth of documents show car makers and the government have known that lap belts are inferior.
They know the horrific type of injuries that this produces and the life-altering effects on these young children.
Attorney Bob Langdon represents both Derek and Heather in lawsuits against a car maker.
When you go around and you say, did you know that a lap belt's very dangerous and could produce paraplegia in your child? Nobody knows that.
Crash tests produced for car makers show the graphic results. A dummy virtually sliced in half when it jackknifes over a lap belt in a frontal collision. In the same crash, the dummies protected by lap and shoulder belts remain intact.
It's time for the government to step in and say it's time to take care of these problems. We don't need to maim another 100, 200, 300 children to get this message across.
When lap belts in the side seats first came under criticism back in the 1980s, car makers found a way to retrofit them by adding shoulder belts aftermarket. It is not clear if that is possible for the center seat now. We reported last night that some center seats can be retrofitted. Now experts tell us that is a complicated question for individual dealers. But representatives of the auto industry say that all car makers are starting to move into putting the shoulder lap belts mandatorily in all their new cars, but it'll take 5 or 6 years before we see that. We have a complete list. You can link from our website, NBC5.com, to all new cars which offer seatbelt options.
But if they knew, should there not have been a warning before now? I mean, somebody should have told somebody.
These lawsuits are settled quietly and quickly.
All right. Thank you, Lisa, for bringing us that warning.
Absolutely.
Great report.